What's up guys, Reapshow here. Sorry for the delay, getting over a really bad sinus infection, finally through it, finally getting better. Today I wanted to do a physical media update where I share with you guys all my new additions to the collection, whether that's Blu-ray, 4K, or DVD. Pretty decent stack I got here over just the last couple months of collecting. So without further ado, let's get into this here. First up, we've got Salem's Lot on DVD. Now, I'm kind of patiently waiting for this to come out on Blu-ray, honestly. I don't need a 4K of this. Maybe some people do. This kind of, for me, came off the heels of the remake and wanting to jump back into the franchise. I've seen this, don't remember loving it. But after watching the remake and just kind of, getting back into the franchise, I'd like to give this another shot and see where my thoughts land. So, Salem's Lot. Next up, we've got Poltergeist 2. Absolutely love this film. 100% my favorite Poltergeist sequel. Might even be my favorite Poltergeist film. Such a soft spot in my heart for this film. Absolutely love Kane in it. Yeah, must have on 4K. Next up, we've got Beetlejuice, another classic. Took me a long time to finally get around to this. I had seen it, just on TV. I had never actually sat down and watched it in its entirety. Finally did and loved it. Saw the sequel, really liked the sequel. But yeah, another must-have, Beetlejuice. Next up, we have the Arrow release of Friday the 13th, 2009. Really love this film. I really have such a good time with the remake. I know that it's kind of contentious amongst Friday fans, and I get it. I understand the complaints that most people have. I understand, kind of what, the gripes that people have with it, but I have a good time with it, I can kind of just look past those flaws and just meet it on its own terms, I guess. But yeah, I thought that this was a really interesting release to see label like Arrow release such a new film was interesting to me. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be doing more of the Friday films. Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and potentially Freddy vs. Jason. So looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, Friday 13th, 2009. Next up, we have Friday the 13th on 4K. Now, I love collecting Friday films. I've got a variation of a bunch of different Friday collections, from the steelbooks to the DVDs. I even have VHS of most of the franchise. Absolutely love this film. Such a classic. It's honestly grown on me as I've gotten older. Used to be kind of my least watched in the franchise just because Jason's not in it. But as I've gotten older, I've started to just appreciate it more and more. Such a quintessential slasher. It really is a defining slasher, honestly. And it's what started it all. So yeah, Friday 13th on 4K. Next up, we have The First Omen. Loved this film. One of my favorite films of 2024. Such an incredible film that came out of nowhere. To be a prequel and to be as good as it is just shocking, because I can't tell you the last time I've seen a horror prequel rock me the way First Omen did. This movie is awesome. Absolutely love it. Such a worthy addition to the franchise, and who was really, predicting something like this? Such an interesting franchise to be so respectful to the lore of the franchise and to fit right into it just is honestly impressive to me. So I had to go out and buy it. I'm fine with Blu-ray, but I'll probably buy it when it comes out in 4K. So First Omen. Next up, we have Troll and Troll 2. Obviously, Troll 2 is the most legendary bad film ever made. Horror, obviously. It's a good time. Troll, I have fun with Troll, but it's definitely more boring than Troll 2. But they're perfectly fine bad films. But yeah, bought the Umbrella release. Was a pretty good price, so I just bought it on Blu-ray. But yeah, I have a good time with these films here. Next up, we have Ghoulies 2, the MVD Rewind release. This is awesome. This is my favorite Ghoulies film in the franchise. I think the Ghoulies and the effects are the best, in my opinion, in this film. I have such a good time with these schlocky 80s creature feature films. Absolutely love Ghoulies 2. Had to get it. Next up, we've got Silence of the Lambs on 4K. How do you go from Ghoulies 2 to Silence of the Lambs, right? Only at the Reapshow. But yeah, love Silence of the Lambs. Can't really say too much about it that hasn't been said. Classic, absolute classic. Must have, honestly, if you're a horror fan. Yes, it is a thriller, but I think that it leans more into horror, and I think that it's a healthy balance of the both. But legendary film. Next up, we have Longlegs. Interesting that I have Silence of the Lambs right before Longlegs. I promise that I didn't plan that. They do feel linked in a way, but I wouldn't say, I think that they are different. They're unique from each other in a multitude of ways, to where they don't feel like this doesn't feel like it's a ripoff of Silence of the Lambs. There's a lot to this film that I've taken away from multiple rewatches. I saw this movie a couple times in theaters, and I've seen it a couple times since, and I've just taken more and more away from it. I mean, I get people having problems with it. I just don't have any problems with it. I absolutely love it. I think Nicolas Cage is incredible in this film. Micah Monroe is also incredible. Really love the approach she took. The more you watch it, the more you take away from it, the more it makes sense, in my opinion. Like, when you first watch it, takes time to really let this film sink in. Once you start to really dig into it and watch it a couple more times, you really see more things, and it really starts to kind of come together for you in terms of making sense. A lot of it really, it's like a puzzle. It really does come together, and I absolutely love it. Every time I watch it, it takes something new away from it. And it's such a rewatchable film to me, at least. So yeah, Longlegs. Next up, we have The Crow. Legendary film. Absolutely love Brandon Lee. This is his defining film. Finally, they released it on 4K. I mean, it had been so long since they had done anything for The Crow. I'm glad they finally did. I kind of missed out on the Steelbook. I'm still kicking myself for that. But this film is incredible. It's I hate to say untouchable, but they have yet to even be able to get close to this film. I know some people love City of Angels. I'm not one of them. I have fun with Salvation. Wicked Prayer is what it is. And the series is solid, I think. But yeah, love this film. Brandon Lee is iconic. I love a lot of other Brandon Lee films too, but nothing really tops The Crow in so many different ways. Had to get this on 4K. Yeah, The Crow. Next up, we have The Crow. This is the Steelbook. This is a pretty cool Steelbook, actually. So you got Eric Draven, obviously, and then the back, right? It's a pretty cool Steelbook. Yeah, I mean, you know, I get the complaints. I understand. Don't think they should have called him Eric Draven. I think that's a pretty widely agreed upon opinion. You know, he should have had a different name. You don't have to actually. So many of the sequels don't. None of them refer to him as Eric Draven. The only one that and it's not even a sequel. It's more of a remake, is The Show, right? But yeah, just have him have a different name. If it's going to be so vastly different from the original, have him have a different name so that it's not like you're kind of trying to redefine The Crow as in Eric Draven, as in Brandon Lee's performance. That being said, I still have fun with this film. I think that it has positives to it. I think it's got problems. The ending is very muddy. and just some of the different routes they took. I like the fact that they pivoted in so many different directions and subverted. Does it work all the time? No, at least not for me, right? But I have a lot of fun with this film. I enjoy it, and it's, if you're going to compare it to any of the Crow sequels, it's 100% the best Crow sequel. Take a look at the Crow sequels. I mean, aside from Salvation, which I think is slightly overrated. I like Salvation. It's still got like problems, and it's not that great. I like it though. But I mean, you look at like Wicked Prayer, you look at like even City of Angels. I cannot get into that film. Awesome cover, awesome poster, cannot get into that film. But this is 100% the second best Crow film. It's not even close to the original, but the sequels are just bad, you know. So that's not really much of a compliment, but I still do enjoy this film. So yeah, I definitely wanted to get this on 4K. Yeah, The Crow. Next up, we have Prom Night. Such a classic. Jamie Lee Curtis in this slasher here. I have a good time with this. I have a good time with this franchise. You're going to see a couple more coming up here. Waiting for Prom Night 2 to come out on at least Blu-ray. I have a fun time with this franchise, but this is 100% a classic slasher. So, Prom Night. Next up, Prom Night 3 and Prom Night 4. I already have Prom Night 2 on DVD. Went to the exchange, saw this for a decent price, had to pick it up. I have a good time with this franchise. It's a ton of fun. The sequels are what they are, but I have fun with them. But how can you not love that cover art? Yeah, Prom Night 3 and 4. Lastly, we have the elephant in the room here, two of which. So first off, we have the US release of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Had to pick this up. I just love having Nightmare on Elm Street physical media. Whether or not I absolutely love the cover art is besides the fact. Just if they're actually releasing Nightmare physical media, I'm there. You know, because it's been so long since they've actually done that. Yeah, it's about time is all I have to say about it. Looks awesome on 4K. Yeah, love it. Nightmare on Elm Street 4K. Lastly, we have the UK release of A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is my definitive release because you get the original cover art in a steelbook of A Nightmare on Elm Street. How iconic is that? I really like the back. It's pretty cool. Yeah, had to get this. I was very happy to hear that they were going to do a release like this. That was my main complaint, is that I wasn't huge on the US released artwork of A Nightmare on Elm Street. But as long as they did a variation where you could have the option to get the original artwork, I'm fine with it, as long as that's not the only definitive release. But yeah, this is an awesome release of Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. You get that original steelbook artwork. You get a book, a two-sided poster, a foreign poster, and then you get some character cards. So a little pricey, honestly, but had to get it because it was limited edition, obviously. And I mean, finally releasing Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K, I'm going to be there. I'm a mark for this franchise. I'm going to be there. I'm going to buy it, right? I cannot wait for the sequels. Really hope that they follow through with all of them. And honestly, I would say do the remake. It is part of the franchise. I hate that film, but it's part of the franchise, right? Just include that, right? But yeah, looking forward to Freddy's Dead, Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child. I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can come out with, you know, the full-length footage of Dan's death on the motorcycle scene. And Freddy's Dead. I love Freddy's Dead and all of its insanity. New Nightmare, and then, like I said, the remake, right? We already know they're doing Freddy vs. Jason, Arrow, potentially. So, Finally, we're getting some worthy Nightmare on Elm Street releases. Hopefully someday they come out with a box set, but if they don't, Blockbuster Box Sets is your man. I'm sure he's going to be putting something awesome together. I'm waiting patiently for the Halloween box set that he came out with, which is absolutely incredible. Got his Jaws box set. I couldn't be any happier with it. You can kind of see it from there. Such an awesome box set. This dude does incredible work. So if you have not checked out his work, make sure to check it out. But yeah, that's it for now. Stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.